welcome to another video. I hope that you're subscribing to the channel now for more of these interesting videos on Vickers machine gun related items. I've got loads of ideas, but please do comment below with any more. Please do become patrons as well on our Patreon channel, where you'll get some additional sort of behind the scenes videos, loads of archive material that we're unable to share any wider, and you'll be able to influence and hopefully fund some of these videos as they're coming forward. But this video today is all about the Irish Pram, the Vickers machine gun Pram, the handcart that saw service with the Irish Army. Certainly from the late 1930s, and as we recently found out when we put one of the sort of taster or teaser clips out for this video, right into the 1960s. And it really was nicknamed the Pram. So what we've got is a sort of quite rudimentary really, but clearly with a lot of thought behind it, bar and rolled tubing, wooden handle, and then sat on these stub axles. This pair are actually made out of motorcycle tyres. The brake drums are still in place. There's another variety that uses handcart tyres, and they were probably a little bit earlier, but it's really ingenious. It's actually quite a bit of weight in here itself. There's a lot of support in there, but it's something only the Irish Army seem to have used. We know that the Dutch, the Netherlands, they actually used a handcart as well. The British never did. So there was a handcart for the Lewis, that was sort of a small affair that carried Lewis guns and ammunition for the section. The British never actually used a handcart, and as far as I'm aware, the Australians, the Canadians, none of those did as well. The only exception would be airborne forces that had their generic handcart that they used to transport Vickers machine guns and their ammunition in as well. But generally, the Irish used this, nobody else did. It only seems to be between the 1930s and the 1960s. It's not First World War, it's not airborne. We see these advertised when they do come up as these weird and wonderful airborne, rare, First World War even. They're not, they're just, let's say, Irish Army, late 1930s through, as it turns out, to the 1960s. So I'm going to talk you through how they're loaded, and what kit goes in them, and then some of the sort of advantages that they've got. But we've got clips of them being used in the late 1930s and through into the early part of the Second World War, which for the Irish, a neutral nation, Ireland, was just referred to as the emergency. So they recognised there was a conflict, and they referred to that as the emergency. So let's have a look at how it's loaded. There are some particular fixtures and fittings on it. There's this box at the back here and brackets at the front with a leather pad there. This is one of the restored examples, so the leatherwork's been replaced but copied from the components from sort of the relic version that we got. So we'll get those straps out of the way, and we'll insert one of the Vickers guns just as I talk through. This is actually a commercial mid-1930s Vickers machine gun that went to Chile. So it's actually marked up in meters. It's in 7mm. But we're aware that the Irish actually had sort of ex-British service guns. It seems they didn't purchase any directly as a government from Vickers. They used British service equipment. So the gun fits with its crosspiece in the rear box there. Get that back in nice and secure into the bracket, and then that pad is up there at the front to protect the muzzle attachment. We'll then insert the tripod. The tripod goes up towards the front here, and it actually starts to balance out. Really quite remarkable when you can get it balanced so that it will sit on its axles. I won't be able to do it now, will I? Let's get it about there so that it will sit really well, nicely balanced, which is quite useful. What fits in the middle? There's another bracket in here. I'll tell you what, I'm going to move that down the back end there so you can still see. Bracket here in the middle goes the condenser can, and then either side of that we've got room for 2 ammunition boxes. Number 8 belt boxes. These are actually all 1930s dated and did come from Irish Army stores in the same way that the cart did in the early 2010s. So about 7 years ago, maybe. Fits, say, 4 ammunition boxes, so we can get 1,000 rounds of ammunition in there. And we've left one of those boxes unrestored because actually it's marked up for the Mag 762, so the general purpose machine gun in British parlance, the FN Mag in commercial terms. Obviously the Irish were still using these bell boxes with those weapons once they'd replaced the Vickers. So we kept one of those boxes unrestored. The rest were quite badly battered. And then up the front we'll stick the spare parts box. So when you balance it out and you get that tripod in the right place, it sits there like that. What you then do is get those leather straps that have all fallen down there, typically. There's another horsehair pad. It goes up and over, and we'll just sit on the gun there to stop it moving around. We can do this from either side, but we'll do it from this side now. Get these straps on. What I've recently learnt from that sort of taster as well, that there was a cover for this, which we don't have. Certainly would like one if anybody knows of any whereabouts of any of those covers. It seems to be a green affair, apparently marked with P&T for, I think they said Post Office and Telegraph, because they were made from or by the Post Office, everybody involved in the industry. So you can see there, everything's quite well secure. You can obviously throw more equipment in there as well, and one of the photos that we've seen has got shovels and everything coming out of it too. It's apparent too that you can perhaps have every other cart, because you'd have one box per pair of guns. These two can be replaced with a wooden spare parts box, so that you again you can have all of the equipment that you need and you would carry. And I imagine underneath the gun, we'll have a quick look around in a moment, but underneath the gun there's more space in there for aiming posts, aiming lamps, things like that if you need it. So there we go, quite a neat little affair that holds all of the equipment quite well. So once it's full, this probably has, what we've got, 25 kilos, 25 when full of water, so that's 50 kilos or 100 pounds. 4 boxes of ammunition is about 100 pounds as well, so another 50 kilos, 200 pounds or 100 kilos in total, plus another 10 kilos or 20 pound of water in here as well if it's full. So what's that, 110 kilos. You can really see that plus the spare parts is normally about 10 pounds, so 5 kilos, 115 kilos. There's quite a lot of weight in there. And you can see from the clips that they carried these on the back of trucks and then lifted them off the trucks as well. We've got 4 roller handles here on the top, and then also underneath, so you can you can hold them and lift them without the metal cutting into your hands. And then once you've got it down, you can this is an adjustable handle. You can then put the screw in, butterfly screw in there, whichever height you want. So you can carry it, you can push it, you can pull it. If you are in action with the fire, and you'll see from the clip that you can roll that completely as flat as possible. These stub axles come off quite easily. Not easily once you've got the stuff in there, but because they're under the weight, so I can't lift it and support it. But once it's empty, those stub axles pop off, and you can drag it. You can drag it along and slide it quite easily. So a really versatile piece of equipment that certainly, perhaps an opportunity lost for some of the other countries around the world that we'd normally think, a bit more ingenious potentially, or a bit more innovative than the Irish Army, but they certainly filled a gap in their mechanisation with this one, and very impressive, and they did too. So as I said, we restored these from quite rusty hulks. Some of one of the three had a replacement skid on it. Some of them had replacement wood. In the base, there's 4 wooden struts in there. And from underneath one of those, actually the spanner fell. So these are the only real bolts on it. I think those are the only 2 bolts. There's some bolts holding in the frame, but the spanner fell. So it's actually I think it's a 1992 dated spanner, or that might be the a stock number in there, 92 125 177. Quite probably actually, but it's a NATO style stock number, so it's quite a late on. And this spanner sort of fell out, and it clearly fits some of the nuts on there. As an aside, one of the other sort of Irish associations with Vickers that you may have noticed in the clip is the helmet. So the Irish Army used these German style helmets that are actually 1927 pattern helmets, as referred, that were made by Vickers. So this is again one that we took when we had the carts, because we like the association as well. They normally have an Irish Free State cap badge on the front there. But it's been restored with the 1916 pattern, I think it is, Stellhelm liner, because it was exactly the same as the rotten one that came out of it. So we've got that that sits alongside it in the collection. So what I do now is just quickly unload it, and then we'll just drop those wheels off, and you can see how easy it is to do. Let's get that helmet out of the way. Let's get the condenser can, 2 gallons of water in there. Let's get the straps undone. Different length straps, you see the different length buckles. That was as we copied it off the original. So we'll take out those 2, and you start to see that all that weight goes to the front. Clearly these ammunition boxes are empty, hence why I'm handling them with such ease. But they, so it doesn't matter in terms of the balance argument that I made, because 4 empty ammunition boxes weigh the same as 4 full ammunition boxes. Take that tripod outlet and it swings straight back down. Let's take that gun out. Now if there were 4 of us here, we'd be able to do this with the kit in it, I'm sure. But there aren't, there's me. So we're going to undo that buckle there. So to undo these stub axles, say there's a really big nut on the inside. Again, we've seen a couple of different varieties, some of these finger tightens, and then some with the a sort of big spanner nut, and that just comes off like that. Put that nut back on, like so. Take that out of the way. So with a bit of assistance, just got to make sure that's all square. And that goes down. You can see how these stub axles, say, this would be quite rudimentary nuts with finger pieces welded on. So there you go. The cart, so it can be dragged. So from the picture that we've seen, the cover goes all the way over the top. It's got a split in there and seems to come down quite a way over the sides as well. But I'm quite, having seen how this balances, I want to try one day, maybe a day in the summer, see if it floats. Wrap it up with ground sheets appropriately, see what the total weight, we'll calculate the freeboard and work out whether this thing would actually float in water. Because it seems so well thought through that maybe it's an opportunity missed if it doesn't. But hopefully that's been interesting. Hopefully you find that is worthwhile. Please subscribe to the channel. Please do support us on Patreon or through PayPal if you do. Go and see our shop. Go and look at Teespring as well, where we're starting to put some t-shirt designs and other merchandise on there. And continue watching and continue commenting, liking and supporting the videos. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. Please support us on Patreon if you're able to, and let us know of anything you'd like to see in the future. I look forward to hearing from you.